Some players score goals. Some create magic. But very few do both with the elegance of a dancer, the precision of a sniper, and the heart of a warrior. Robin van Persie wasn't just a striker. He was a footballing poet. From the streets of Rotterdam to the world's biggest stages, this is the story of the Flying Dutchman, a man who turned football into art and left defenders spinning like vinyl records in his wake. Robin van Persie was born on August 6, 1983, in Rotterdam, Netherlands, a city known for its working-class grit and footballing passion. His parents were artists, and you can see that influence in the way he played. Always expressive, always creative. But Van Persie wasn't an instant prodigy. He was rebellious, often clashing with authority at his early clubs. Eventually, he landed at Feyenoord, where he made his professional debut at just 17 years old. He helped Feyenoord win the UEFA Cup in 2002, his first major trophy, and Europe started paying attention. In 2004, a certain French manager named Arsène Wenger brought Van Persie to Arsenal. At the time, Thierry Henry ruled the roost. RVP started slow, adapting to the physicality of the Premier League, but the potential was obvious. Elegant first touch, insane left foot, deadly free kicks. Van Persie wasn't just a striker. He was an artist with a license to thrill. Season after season, his performances got better. But there was one problem: injuries. Had Van Persie stayed fit throughout his Arsenal years, we might be talking about him as one of the greatest Premier League players ever. Now, before we get into the jaw-dropping goals and his controversial move to Manchester United, take a second to smash that like button if you're enjoying this trip down memory lane. And if you're a real football head who lives for these stories, make sure to subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more magic coming your way. Fast forward to the 2011-12 season. Van Persie is finally healthy, confident, and ready. What does he do? Just score 30 Premier League goals, win the Golden Boot, and carry Arsenal on his back into the Champions League. He scored all types of goals: volleys, headers, one-timers, curlers. But there's one goal that defines this period: a flying volley against Everton from an Alex Song pass. Pure perfection. Technique, timing, finish, all in one breathtaking motion. Arsenal fans thought they finally had their leader. But then everything changed. In the summer of 2012, Van Persie made a decision that sent shockwaves through the footballing world. He joined Manchester United. To Arsenal fans, it felt like betrayal. To Sir Alex Ferguson, it was the missing piece of the puzzle. Van Persie himself said, "I always listened to the little boy inside me," and he was screaming for Man United. And you know what? That little boy chose right. Van Persie hit the ground running at Old Trafford. He scored 26 league goals, led United to the Premier League title in the 2012-13 season, and was named PFA Players' Player of the Year. It was Sir Alex Ferguson's final season, and Van Persie was the star of the show. His hat trick against Aston Villa sealed the title, and that second goal, a volley from a 50-yard Rooney pass, became one of the most iconic goals in Premier League history. It wasn't just a goal, it was a legacy-defining moment. In 2014, Van Persie captained the Netherlands at the World Cup in Brazil, and in their opening game against defending champion Spain, he scored one of the most famous goals in World Cup history: the flying header. You know the one. A slow-motion replay plays as you describe it. Daley Blind sends a perfect long ball, and Van Persie, mid-air, loops a diving header over Iker Casillas. The entire world froze. It wasn't just genius, it was Van Persie. The goal was so iconic, they turned it into a statue. Seriously, after spells with Fenerbahce and declining form due to age and injuries, Van Persie returned home, back to Feyenoord, in 2018. But he didn't come back for a paycheck. He came to give back. He mentored young players, scored some absolute stunners, and helped Feyenoord win the KNVB Cup in 2018. A beautiful full-circle moment for the boy who started it all in Rotterdam. Robin van Persie retired in 2019, and today he's coaching at Feyenoord, shaping the next generation. But his legacy? It's untouchable. Premier League Golden Boot winner. Over 50 goals for the Netherlands. The country's all-time top scorer. Over 300 career goals. One of the greatest left-feet football has ever seen. He wasn't the most physical. He wasn't the fastest. But his brain, his touch, his vision, untouchable. Van Persie reminded us that football is about joy, imagination, and moments that make you fall in love with the game all over again. That was Robin van Persie, the Flying Dutchman. If you felt a spark of nostalgia or learned something new, drop a like and leave a comment with your favorite RVP goal. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel because we've got more legends, more stories, and more football magic coming your way. Until next time, stay creative, stay curious, and keep the beautiful game alive.